One of the all-time great FA Cup ties, Manchester United into the semi-finals after Ahmed Diallo's 121st minute winner saw them beat Liverpool 4-3 and end their great rivals' hopes of a quadruple. United had needed an 87th minute equaliser to force extra time and trailed again during the extra 30 minutes before Ahmed scored and was sent off for his celebration.
We can deal better with such situations where we were in autumn. It was difficult to adjust, where we had all the injuries. So what you now see in January, February, March, we can deal better with this. And still we have a lot of injuries, but we can deal with it. We get our wins. So yeah, I'm very proud of the way, of the run we are in. But we know we have to still catch up because we are happy, of course, with the loss of Spurs. Villa dropped points. We are happy with being at semi-final, but yeah, we have to keep going. But the progress is there from January on. In every game we're scoring, and so we're getting better, and also we're defending better. So yeah, I'm happy with the progress of this team.
So what a game, what a finish. Sue, just how big a moment could this prove to be for Manchester United?
It was a brilliant game. I think for the most neutrals would have enjoyed it. I don't think it would have necessarily defined Ten Hag's future, that sort of game, but it certainly, because it's a game of such significance in terms of the rivalry between the two sides, the way that it was won, the fact that they've progressed now to the semi-final of the FA Cup, so still in with an opportunity of winning something. I know they're going to try and finish as high up as they possibly can, but you know, to go and win silverware, yeah, I think it was huge, and I thought they started the game so well. I thought the first 30 minutes playing with a real energy, a real intensity, very much taking the game to Liverpool. Liverpool then took control of the game in the second half and obviously could have won it themselves. But again, in extra time, they then showed a real sort of character, a real fight. I think Ten Hag's had a lot of, I suppose, negativity and criticism, but his substitutions worked, the bravery worked, and I think a lot of Manchester United fans are probably thinking, this is what we can do. If we play with a real intensity, we take the game to teams, this is what we can achieve. So I think it's a huge result for Manchester United and something that they'll hope that they can take forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, much has been made, understandably, and will be made when it gets to the semi-final of Mark Robins' goal, 1990, against Nottingham Forest, and what that was alluded to have done as far as Alex Ferguson goes, you never know. It might not have done. But Sue dismissed it. Do results like that, though, change a managerial career sometimes?
Quite possibly. I think what would change things is if they were to go on and win the FA Cup and finish fifth, because if you look at the games in the Premier League at the weekend, when you look at Spurs and Villa dropping points, well, that's given Manchester United an opportunity now to potentially get that fifth or fourth spot. So the game's helped him massively. What's been interesting for me listening to Ten Hag in the last couple of weeks is that he's gone from talking about a team that can't play his style to suddenly talking about a young, up-and-coming team that's going to become very good. So he's almost changed his narrative around how he talks about the team and how the ownership will perceive what he's trying to do. And I think that's very clever on his behalf. But if he doesn't make the Champions League and he doesn't win the FA Cup, it's still going to be the same outcome at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can still win the FA Cup and get sacked, can't you? Just ask Louis van Gaal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if he was to make it to the final, that would be 3 finals in his 2 years there. So that's not a bad haul, is it?
No, and I think, I suppose the new owners that have come in, obviously working out what's best for the club off the field. is what they're trying to do, which then obviously has that impact on the field. And I think what they'll want to see is progression, won't they? They'll want to see a team that you can see developing all the time. And we've said it a few times on the show where we've saw Manchester United win games, but they've not always been convincing. And I suppose that's what you want to see. You want to start seeing, yes, obviously the results, but you want to see the performances and the way that they're performing. But that will just give them a huge belief. And I think there's lots of factors around that, the injuries that they've had. We spoke of when Højlund was out. They just were starting to get that fluidity of that forward line. And that had a massive impact because it meant other players were changing positions. Martinez, Luke Shaw being out, that left-sided defence was always going to have an impact. So we were saying it's hard to judge Ten Hag when he's not got all of his side there, but you just think, well, you just wonder what that result can do. And I think last season, obviously getting to the 2 finals, we thought Manchester United were going to build on that this season, and we didn't really see that, did we? But you just think now, well, if they can go and win an FA Cup and they can finish as high up as possible, could it end up being a successful season for Manchester United?
Yeah, it could be worse. He could be a manager by Real Madrid. Jupp Heynckes sacked with the Champions League trophy or the European Cup sat next to him on the coach. It does happen, doesn't it? That you can do that. So Jim Ratcliffe has talked about overtaking the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. OK. How big a statement could that turn out to be then?
Well, it's ambition, isn't it? And that's what it's got to be. However, we were all looking at Manchester United and Manchester City game a couple of weeks ago, saying there's a huge gap in the two teams. And it's incredible what a result can do, and suddenly how people's opinions can change of a team, and suddenly they get belief. They're still a long way away. Over the course of a season, they're still a long way off, not just Liverpool and Manchester City, but Arsenal as well. They're miles behind them in terms of capabilities on the pitch, but also off the pitch. And that's not going to be done within a 6-month period. That's over 5 years or so. If it can be accelerated, then great on their side of things. But if not, I think they all know that it's going to take a long period of time. It's just whether they think Ten Hag's the man who can close that gap between them. The thing that we're not going to, we're going to have to take into consideration is that Jurgen Klopp's leaving. Now, whoever comes in could have a ropey start to their managerial career. They could be great, but that gap could shorten because of Klopp leaving Liverpool. We just don't know. We don't know what's in the future. Don't know how that's going to work out. Whether Guardiola leaves City in a year or two, then that gap will again close because you're losing 2 of the best managers in world football. So that gap will at some point close anyway.
Did that 120 minutes of football just encapsulate Manchester United's season? Sort of great in bits, sometimes, dare I say it, looking clueless at other moments, and then sort of somehow finding a way to get something.
Yeah, I think it did. I think a lot of Manchester United fans would probably admit that, wouldn't they? Like the first 30 minutes, excellent, really taking the game to Liverpool, getting the goal that they needed. I think Wan-Bissaka, obviously, up against Mo Salah, which we know Wan-Bissaka is such a good 1v1 defender, so you could understand that, the swapping of the centre-backs. So starting really well, but then once Liverpool got themselves back into the game and it was 2-1 to them, I just thought Liverpool were going to win this quite convincingly, but they managed to get through that, didn't they? Get that equaliser. Like I said, you got to praise Ten Hag for his bravery of his substitutions. And we were talking about it, weren't we, before, saying there was one point, I think they had, was it 2 defenders on? You had Bruno Fernandes playing at centre-half.
And then Anthony at left-back.
Yeah, so it was a real sort of mix and match. I was thinking who's playing where and what they're doing, but it worked for them. They got the result. So, yeah, I think it probably summed Manchester United up in that game yesterday. It's
like the traditional trajectory of a Hollywood movie, isn't it? Starts off really nice, everything's going well, then there's this down bit, then it ends up with a bloke taking his shirt off and ending happily, doesn't it? Talking of which, we've got to talk about Ahmad. OK, there has been some suggestions he wasn't happy, particularly with his game time.
Yeah.
But what a script writer he's got with that goal.
Incredible. And that's what you want to do at some point in your career, is have an impact in a certain way. And listen, that's exactly what he did coming off the bench. I thought he was positive in everything that he tried to do. He tried to take the game to Liverpool. I think you look at who's in front of you at times and you think, are they performing at the highest level? And I think when you see Anthony getting on consistently or playing a part, and you're thinking, you've bought him in for big money, but he's not actually playing well, and he's not assisting, he's not scoring. I want an opportunity, but you've got to back that up with assists and goals yourself. So for him to come on and to have the impact he did, credit to him, because that's the mental strength that you need to play for a club like Man United. It's a big football club. He might not last there all his career, but you've got to try and overcome that obstacle to try and make sure that you give yourself more game time and more opportunities. However, he'll be suspended now, so he's not going to get that opportunity.
Well, I think a lot of Man United fans wanted to see him play as well, didn't they? He went on loan at Rangers, at Sunderland. I watched him a few times at Sunderland, and you could see the potential in him. You could see he's an exciting talent. He's somebody that, like you said, he wants to make an impact, doesn't he, when he comes on? It was a great finish from him, but everything that he did was positive, and he had that enthusiasm. He wanted to press. He wanted to do those things that at times maybe we haven't seen from Manchester United, so they wanted to see somebody like that. So certainly a way to come on and make an impact. I know he's had an injury, so whether that's halted his progression, but it's certainly a way to come on, isn't it?
Yeah, so an important goal for him. Can the same be said for Marcus Rashford?
Yeah, I think because we spoke about Marcus Rashford, and we've sort of said the way that we stopped talking about him off the field is when he's performing on the field and scoring goals and assists. And he had a couple of opportunities, didn't he, that he didn't take. So then he goes and takes that chance. Great finish from him. And that's what Manchester United fans want to see. They want to see an in-form Marcus Rashford scoring goals like we saw last season. So, yeah, it's a great finish.
Yeah, there's just two sides to his performance, wasn't there? There's the dangerous part that we all know. He's got that blistering pace, and he can be clinical at times, but he's not most natural of finishers. The chance at the end of normal time where he puts it wide. Yeah. I mean, he should score that. It's a great opportunity, great first touch. But then, I think it was the first goal Liverpool scored. It's too easy to waltz past him. Yeah. There's not enough aggression, enough in the way he plays. We saw the clip against Luton a few weeks ago where Ross Barkley just glided past him, and it was just there was nothing from Marcus Rashford, no intent to try and close down and press. That's what he's got to get into his game. If you're a Man United fan, you just want pressing, you want hard work, and that's all they ask for. Okay.
We're going to play a bit of higher or lower, higher.
Okay.
Okay. In what is considered a success for United this season, reaching the semi-final of an FA Cup. Is that a success? You've got to go higher or lower?
Higher for me.
Higher. You haven't quite...
because they played Liverpool, yes. So it's a good thing to get through.
Yeah, but satisfying enough for the owners, the fans?
No.
Okay, so higher than that.
Higher.
Yeah. Okay, reaching the final of the FA Cup.
No, you've got to win it.
Higher, okay.
Depends if they face Man City, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's even more important to win it.
Oh. Yeah, well, higher.
Higher, all right. Reaching the FA Cup final, just reaching the FA Cup final and finishing 5th.
And did it guarantee Champions League?
Well, we won't know.
No, but this isn't the game.
Well, we won't know.
Is this hypothetical? Because Dermot doesn't like hypothetical.
No, he doesn't.
As long as they get Champions League football, they'd be happy.
OK, so finishing 4th, say, and reaching an FA Cup final.
Yeah, happy.
Yeah, happy.
OK.
I think he stays in the job then and gets the chance to work on next year.
Yeah.
OK, we got there in the end.
Did.
Yeah, we did.
That was a good game. We should have been turning numbers over. All right, so no Premier League action for a while now, with the international break coming up. Next up for United, Erik Ten Hag's team will travel to Brentford. That's March the 30th. This is a late kickoff on Saturday Night Football.